Hello. Just waiting for the people to jump on in. Let's give them a couple more minutes. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Welcome. Thank you for being here. We're very excited for this event that we're going to have today. It's a long time coming. There's a lot of planning that went into this, and we're gonna hear from some really cool, really awesome people. And yeah, we should go ahead and get started. So thank you all so very much for joining us today. I'm beyond thrilled for what I promise will be both an educational and an eye-opening discussion filled with talented, creative, smart, and pretty much just like overall dope people. But before we jump in, quick reminder that there will be a Q&A portion at the end. To ask a question, just pop it in the Q&A box on your Zoom screen and we'll read them. Alternatively, if you want to ask a question yourself, like live during the Q&A portion, you can just raise your hand and we'll get to you. Okay, so now that housekeeping is out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Today's discussion focuses on digital blackface and sort of the negative and unjust impact it has on the Black community. In the simplest way I can explain it, digital blackface is when people use images, static or otherwise, to claim Black identity, but they themselves don't identify as Black. It's become increasingly common on the internet and within mainstream media overall, and honestly, for lack of a better word, is problematic. I trust you all see how this topic is extremely relevant to the space we all work and thrive in. But let's not just take my word for it. To dive deeper into this topic, I'm so pleased to say that we're blessed to be joined by Ziba Blay, who will be moderating the conversation. Ziba is a cultural and film critic born in Ghana and raised in New York City. Shout out to New York City and Ghana. Formerly senior culture writer at Huffington Post. Her words have also appeared in places like Allure, Film Comment, Essence, The New York Times, Shadow and Act, The Village Voice, IndieWire, and the Webby Award-winning MTV digital series Decoded. In 2013, she was the first person to coin the hashtag Carefree Black Girl on Twitter. Her forthcoming book of pop culture essays, Carefree Black Girls, is set for release on October 19, 2021 by St. Martin's Press in the US and October 21st by Vintage Square in the UK. So welcome and thank you for joining us, Ziba. And Ziba will be joined by three amazing and highly regarded creators on the panel. First, we have Juana Thompson. Juana Thompson is a digital storyteller and cultural critic, born in Toronto with strong West Indian roots. Shout out West Indian roots. Her words have appeared in Teen Vogue, Vibe Magazine, The Zoe Report, The Toronto Star, and so many more. Thompson is credited for partly coining blackfishing and has been interviewed by BBC, Time Magazine, and CNN. She has ambitions of writing a book one day and loves writing about the experiences Black women face and Black culture. Thank you for joining us, Juana. Then we also have joining Juana on the panel, we have Michaela K. Jennings. Kay built TikTok with an iPhone 6 from her bed. This 24-year-old woman is the originator of the phrases, the girls that get it. And I know you girls like to tussle. Clay blends humor and social commentary while also staying true to herself. No matter what, Kay will always be a girl who gets it. Thank you so much for joining us, Kay. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we have the wonderful sisters responsible for Nolly Babes joining the discussion as well. Sisters Tochi and Ibele created Nolly Babes back in 2017 with the intention of archiving and curating images and clips from what they have defined as the golden era of Nollywood. For them, the late 90s and early 2000s canon of Nollywood, with classics like The President's Daughter, Keeping Faith, and Girls Caught, was a source of fond nostalgia. Having moved from Lagos to Atlanta at the age of 13 and 10, respectively, each film they picked on their summer trips back to Nigeria was a cherished tie to their home country. Featuring iconic actresses Regina Askia, Genevieve Naji, and Clarion Chukwura, hope I pronounced that correctly, among them. Nolly Babes is in significant part a shrine to the singular fashion and beauty stunts they pulled off, which deeply influenced Nigerian and international style today. Beyond it being an ode to Nigerians' film Most Iconic Babes, though, the account also tackles some of the thornier discussions taking place in contemporary Nigerian and Black culture, both in country and in the diaspora. Cool. Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be truly, truly wonderful. And I believe, Lydia, you're up next.
I am. Thank you, Isaiah. And what an honor just to be on this panel with all of you amazing people. And we're really excited to dive in. I wanted to, before we started, just for people that want to have a better understanding of examples of, what is an example of digital blackface. If we can go to the next slide. So, when I started working for GIPHY about 3 years ago, I actually had multiple people send me this Teen Vogue article from 2017, which was titled, "We Need to Talk About Digital Blackface and Reaction GIFs." And, my friends would ask my thoughts. And it wasn't really until reading this that I really saw the issue. And this goes past just GIFs. This is in the world of the internet. So I just wanted to let you guys know I'll be referencing a little bit of the article throughout these examples. But just seeing Nene Leaks here, right on the front page, we've all seen this reaction GIF from people sending it or making a meme or tweeting it. But Black reaction GIFs have become so widespread that they've practically become synonymous with just reaction GIFs. Black people appear at the center of it all, or images of Black people at least. We see it with the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Oprah, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, NBA players, Tiffany Pollard, Kid Fury, and many, many other known and anonymous Black likenesses dominate day-to-day feeds, even outside online Black communities. Next slide. And I love this quote from the article, which is from Martine Sims, from an article from the New Yorker. Representation is sort of a surveillance. These three examples here are all from Meghan McCain, who's using Black people in three different tweets. And, you know, for someone that has such a big following, someone like that specifically politically, you know, it kind of reinforces negative stereotypes, right, about Black folks, and such as that they're aggressive, loud, sassy, you know, and simply here just for consumption and entertainment. Next slide. So real quick, can we play that top video, please?
Let me hear. Hands on my knees, shaking ass on my thigh. Let me hear. Hands on my knees, shaking ass on my thigh shape. Hands on the. Let me hear. Hands on my knees, shaking ass on my thigh shape. Hands on my knees, shaking ass on my thigh.
So I wanted to show that example. So in June 2021, last year, digital blackface led to TikTok's first strike, which was dubbed Black TikTok Strike. When that song came out by Megan Thee Stallion, Thought Shit, there was literally no dance that was created, and no one, you know, knew what to do that wasn't, you know, Black. So they were just, you know, flailing their hands and whatnot. Like this tweet says, white people have no idea what to do with the sound because a Black person hasn't made it into a dance yet. So Black TikTokers actually stopped uploading dance tutorials indefinitely, making this the first collective action the platform had seen, where creators are equating uncredited trends with unpaid labor. And then the other video, can we play really quickly? So that is from April of last year, when Addison Rae, who's a very well-known TikToker, made basically a career from, you know, stealing Black creators' content and dance moves, went on Jimmy Fallon and, you know, showed 8 dance moves without giving credit to any of the people that, you know, made up those dances. And it wasn't until there was backlash that Jimmy Fallon actually invited those creators onto the show. So, you know, we're seeing this a lot, but I feel like it's definitely changing a bit. But it's good that, you know, there's been awareness. Can we go to the next slide? And lastly, another quote from that Teen Vogue article: we all need to be aware of what we share, how we share, and to what extent that sharing dramatizes pre-existing racial formulas inherited from real life. The internet isn't a fantasy, it's real life. Thank you. And I think I'm passing it on to Zee.
Yes, thank you so much, Olivia, for that overview. I'm so excited to be in conversation with this panel about a topic that, as we've just seen, is multi-layered and complex. You know, digital blackface is many things, and it affects Black creators in many ways. And I guess I say all that to say that I would love to start our conversation with each of our panelists in your own words, describing your definition of digital blackface, how it's affected you, and why it's harmful. Can we maybe start with Wanda?
Let me unpause my mic. Hi, everyone. Digital blackface has been something that's plaguing the internet. It's been a huge thing. I think it's a caricature. It's mocking Black women. And it's often used by so many groups who do not appreciate Black culture, Black people, especially stan groups on Twitter, who have been a nuisance for so many Black women, I'm sure, in this chat, and also just on the internet collectively. There's no respect for Black culture, but there's more so a need to fit in with everyone else. They feel like they need to get a GIF or an image or a meme. I've saw so many different, you know, images and GIFs being used, and the context was maybe, I don't know, a celebrity in like a very heartbroken situation, a Black celebrity or a music artist. I know there was one where Rihanna was attending her cousin's funeral in Barbados, and that is memed profusely by stan groups and a lot of white people online. So it's like they don't care about our humanity. They just care about just trying to represent us and being funny and making us a caricature. So it's very heartbreaking that, you know, this has turned, it's even a discussion, I find, because I feel like sometimes it's like, okay, we have these discussions about, you know, digital blackface, and it's been in conversation for so long, but are white people getting the message?
And we will get to that in a little bit, because that is a very good point. Kay, what are your thoughts on digital blackface as a concept?
My thoughts for sure is basically be funny, bitch. Like I always say that. I say that all the time and they can't. So we always look so angry when we're really just fed up. We're always saying just be yourself and be funny. But to me, the particular reason I think digital blackface is so harmful is because it's been happening for so long, and it's a roundabout conversation. Like even this conversation, not saying y'all not doing nothing, but even this conversation is gonna be like, okay, well, Black History Month's over, and then they're gonna forget again. You know what I'm saying? It needs to be hard hitting stuff to where they get penalized for the shit they do.
Love that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, about how to imagine different structures and systems for Black people being able to own the content that they create. But Nolly Babes, what are your thoughts on digital blackface? How has it affected you?
You know, in terms of affecting us, I thought the original question was defining it, and I guess we can actually answer both of those at the same time, because we're sort of coming at it from an African or Nigerian lens. And our existence in relation to white people has been a little bit different. But I think the one common thread that goes through all of this is that for white people, they have this urge to minimalize what it is that we are in our existence, to fit into these very specific tropes that actually go further than, you know, American history. You know, ever since colonization, white people have wanted to put Black people into these specific squares, none of which ever encompass our beauty and our creativity and all the amazing things about what it means to be Black. And I think digital blackface is how that's manifesting in our lives today. They're creating these images because right now it's all about digital images. That's what narrates so much about how people are perceived, whether it's us, whether it's Black people in America, whether it's the police. The digital way of showing people how people exist is the way that holds the most power right now. And white people are invested in limiting how Black people are seen, and they're using these images as a way to do that.
Right. It's like a kind of flattening of the experience. You take the image and you remove it from the humanity of the person that the image portrays. That's such an important point. And I guess, you know, something I'm curious about is like, how do you feel as creators, as storytellers, when your work, your content is reappropriated by non-Black people? Like, do you, okay, because I know where I'm going with this, but I have to like work it out in my head as I'm saying it. But like, I'm thinking even of like the Aquafina, right? She got some well-deserved critique for the fact that she used a Black scent to sort of like lift up her career and then abandoned it, right? And then she recently released a statement that was like a lot of word salad, but essentially it was saying, you know, I use a Black scent because I was trying to assimilate into American culture, and Black culture is American culture, and thus it belongs to everyone, right? Which like, does that make sense? And so my question is, you know, what is your response to people? Because I feel like people who engage in digital blackface, that's kind of their argument. It's like, well, this is ubiquitous. All these GIFs, all these images, like it's on the internet for all of us to use. Like, why do I not get to use it just because it's a Black person's image? What would be your response to those people who believe that digital blackface isn't real or that it isn't an issue today? Anyone can chime in.
I feel like there's a privilege in being able to decide those things and being able to tell, you know, the audience or society that I don't think it's that harmful. I'm not doing a disservice to people. I witnessed similar things with blackfishing, where people are rewriting the rules of blackfishing and saying, well, it's not that harmful. Not everyone wants to be Black. And that's their favorite thing to say. We don't want to be Black. And there's a quote that I always come to when I'm asked this question or hear it. They want our rhythm. They don't want our blues. And I think it's very indicative of that. They just want the coolness of Black culture. They want just the allure of Black culture. They want the little fancy decorations of it, the gold, everything that shimmers. But when times are hard, or when it's time to fight for Black people, Black culture, Black women, they're nowhere to be found. So I think this question is so layered. And I think that the privilege of it all, for them to decide what's affecting who and what's not.
Right. Do you think that, so then the other question comes, like, we know the harm, but then the other side of it is how to correct that harm. The other side of it is accountability. How do y'all believe that we can hold the people who engage in this and don't understand the nuances of this discussion accountable for their actions? And also not only the people, but the platforms, like Blacktag and GIPHY, like, are, creating the space to facilitate this conversation. But how can these platforms continue to hold themselves accountable and uplifting and making sure that Black creators are not stolen from and mimicked in this way?
I think a good way for that to be is for them to do their homework. They are very lazy, especially when it comes to tracing the source. If I can trace something down, I know I'm not, Nancy Drew. Okay. I'm not somebody it's really not that deep. They really just need to do their homework. But like I don't know Friend's name, but like Friend just said before me, they want our rhythm, not our blues. So they don't care to do the homework. So it's just the fact of they want that quick buck or whatever they can get and jumping on the train, and they're just hopping. Like, I don't expect them to have loyalty to me, but these big corporations, it's not that hard. I think we're making it hard because we're giving them excuses, because we're so used to giving them excuses. But if they can track that one person down that's stealing, they could definitely track the person down that started it.
Yeah, I think that there's and I like that you use the word like laziness, because it's like it's a choice being made. Yes. Like, it's a choice for Addison Rae, right, to have a movie career when there are so many Black creators such as yourself who have kind of provided the foundation for those things to happen. It's a choice to ignore that. And so I wonder, like, because the thing too is that these platforms, we rely on them so much, right? So how are you figuring out ways to navigate this system that clearly, like, at the end of the day, like, capitalism, like, do they really care about us? Let's be real. How do you navigate that? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just talking to somebody about this. They were asking me, why don't you talk on your page more about why don't you talk on your page more about how TikTok does you? You should have a blue check. You should have this, you should have that. And I was like, look, I'm never the one to sit here and cry about a situation I put myself in, because I'm still posting on TikTok. Mm-hmm. So how am I going to sit on here and be like, well, this app isn't giving me, like, I'm not doing the strike. I'm not doing the certain things I should do to protect myself from this. So what I'm going to do is on the back end, make sure I make my money, one. And two, I'm going to make the connections I do need. So when I do officially break from the app, if I ever do, that it won't be no sob story of, well, I didn't get and woe is me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to sit here and be on TikTok and begging these corporations when they really don't give a fuck. They don't. I've said this time and time. The dancers don't give a fuck. The corporation don't give a fuck. And we're on there laughing and having fun because that is the act of rebellion in itself. Like, yeah, it's sad overall, but we're going to have our day for sure.
I also want to interject and say, like, it brings me back to On Fleek and Peaches Monroe, and everyone was like, she should just trademark it. She should trademark it. And that got me so irritated, because trademarking isn't free. Who's going to be the lawyer to step in and help Peaches Monroe with this? And she's not the only person either. So I think there's so much onus on the Black creator to do things. You should do this, you should do that. So imagine you're a Black person, you're sitting down and you're seeing all these white people getting these opportunities, getting Netflix movies, getting blue checks, getting all these bags. They don't have to do anything, but we have to do so much groundwork to get an ounce of what they have. So that whole TikTok strike last year, I was looking at it and I was like, this is cute, because I feel like what's going to happen is not much is going to happen after it. It's more so for the week. And it's like, oh, everyone is writing about it. These, reporters are interested in TikTok and Black creators. But did we hear much about it after that? When they did the corrections and brought the proper creators on those TV shows, what happened after that? So I think these discussions need to go further than weeks. It needs to go further than months. And they need to go further than Black History Month. So I think there's so much onus on the Black creator to do this, and that. No, I think as a community, we need to rally more to help these creators and making sure they get the proper recognition they deserve.
And like she said, with the trademarking, so everybody don't know, I've been in the process of trademarking the girls that get it for like maybe 3 to 4 months now, but they don't understand it's a 6 to 8 month process. You know what I'm saying? So every time people come in there, I literally want to reach through the screen. You know what I'm saying? I just be like, listen, I that's why I say let's have fun on here, because y'all coming on here telling me that, it's like she said, putting it on my shoulder. Like, yeah, I'm mad, but y'all think I'm gonna get on here crying every day? No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, Tochi and Ebele, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this whole dynamic, because I feel like, the Nolly Babes aesthetic, like you have basically presented an aesthetic to the internet, to the cultural conversation that people who grew up with these movies were aware of. But I feel like, I see so many white girls using yes, using the images from these movies, Girls Caught, the Beyonce the President, on their pages. And when we talk about this idea of ownership, of how to claim ownership, and these sort of like, there's the legal route, how do you feel about the proliferation of these images in spaces that, are not of them, or don't understand the history of them? But at the same time, you're also like contributing and infusing so much into the culture that wasn't there before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess that's it. That's the double-edged sword, right? Because we do what we do for Black people.
Yes.
So when we see things like you're mentioning, or people that are white sort of co-opting what feels like our culture, and not feels like is, but like feels like a part of who we are as individuals, it's almost like we're not doing it for that gaze. So I don't know if it hurts as much as we feel empowered by sharing these images. Because for us, Nolly Babes is so empowering, specifically about the beauty of Black women in a way that white people have never allowed us to see ourselves in white culture. When we moved to the States, who would you say is like the height of like beauty? Like maybe like Britney Spears or some shit, like someone that we could not relate to or see any semblance of ourselves in. So what these Nollywood movies represented to us was a way of keeping that Black lens on what it means to be Black and to be beautiful in that sense. So the joy that we get, and what's the word? Appreciate just the energy that we get from the people that do get, like they said, the girls that get it, and the girls that don't. Like I think, in fact, sometimes I see white people posting it, and we're just like, you don't even know what that is. You don't get this. It's not giving you the zhuzh it's giving us.
Not to interrupt y'all, but they're not the girls that get it. You feel me? They're not the girls that get it. Simple as that. They're not.
And so, in fact, even in just preparing for this conversation today and seeing the ways in which this has become almost like a modern day minstrel show, it's really changed our lens on this whole thing. And, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes we'll be like working on something, and then we'll get a DM from someone that's, I guess, important in the industry. And 9 times out of 10, it's a white person. We're like, oh, these white people are, in Nigeria, we call them Oyinbo people. We'd be like, these Oyinbo people are really watching our page, yo. You know what I mean? And it's creating this sense of, oh, they're peeping it, and they're already smelling the sauce. They're smelling that stuff that comes with Black excellence. And they're already, I feel like it's almost intrinsic for them to think of how to exploit it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
What can I get out of this?
As in, I feel like that's the energy they come with it already. And so, we really have to be hyper aware of that. To be honest, at this stage, it's more so like, where's the money being made? And is it white people making money off this, or is it Black people making money off this? That's like my first concern. So when I see like white girls posting our shit, we just feel like y'all don't even get it. So you're not even getting the zhuzh that we are.
We don't give them even
you know, the pepper is too much. You're not even enjoying the food. The pepper is too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's when money comes into play that we're like, okay, let's see what's really going on here, because that's when they like to get treacherous.
Yes, I think a lot about the devaluation of Black art, you know, how, I mean, let's talk about it, right? It's like there's this very clear sort of gap between how, not only how Black art and content is interacted with, but also with how it's uplifted and how, and you know, how much access Black creators have to abundance. Can any of you just speak to that experience of, you know, trying to assert and claim your worth in the space, in a space that like really wants to devalue everything that you contribute?
Ooh, I think that question is a lot, because when we talk about worth and value, we all know our individual worth, our value, what we're, you know, what our rates are, what, you know, we're willing to accept, what we're willing not to accept. And I think sometimes in these spaces, white people from these corporations, these businesses will come approach you and say, hey, we want you to do this. We're going to offer this X amount of money. But when you start to learn that you're getting an ounce of what these white creators are getting, and you kind of like say, I'm not going to do it, they'll find another Black creator to get it done and do the job.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's my biggest thing, is like, you could say no, but someone else will take it. And I'm not mad at that person, because we all need to eat. That's fine. But I think as a Black person trying to, you know, make my money, trying to get my name out there and really connect with my community, it's just very hard that they offer us peanuts and everyone else is getting, you know, residual checks. They're getting checks that I will probably never see in my life. And I think collectively, it's just the money issue is always going to be a thing, because sometimes we're in our community, we're even scared to talk about money. We're not asking someone beside us, hey, how much did you get paid for this, you know, when you wrote this for this publication? And I think there needs to be more conversations, because if we're all standing collectively, they can't lowball us, because if we deny it, someone else won't take it.
Yeah, that's
and
real.
I totally, I agree with that. I was just thinking about, you know, Pimp C said in Players Anthem, bitches like to fuck for $40 in the club, fucking up the game, bitch, you get no love. That's exactly what that is, because we can't even sit there and be like, oh nah, no, I'm standing strong, because like she said, it has to be solidarity, and it really fucks us up. And then, like she said, I don't want to shit on them, I really don't, but I'm steady, I can stand, but I really can't be shitted on everybody out here, and I'm looking like the one that's just being bougie, and everybody else just don't know their worth.
Yeah, and I, for some reason, I'm thinking about, you know, this, we're having a conversation here between Black women, and I'm thinking about the fact that so much of digital Blackface, like Black women are disproportionately the ones who are the most affected by it, right? Like, it's our images that are being gifted. It's, you know, blackfishing is another form of digital Blackface. I don't know. I just can y'all talk about like specifically the experience of Black women being at the brunt of all of this like sort of extraction, and what ways do you think we can challenge it, or what work other people need to be doing to challenge it? Does that make sense? Like, just talk about that.
Yeah, I love that question, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say on it. But I mean, I just think our existence is almost poetic. Like, I think the existence of being a Black woman is almost poetic. Does that correlate to being Black and being a woman are like two of the hardest things that the society we live in has made it to be, I'm sure. But there's just something so poetic and beautiful about the way that we live our lives. And There's a reason why a Black woman's emotions on her face, the entire world, white men, everyone, you know, you hear about people all over the world, like quoting things from Housewives of Atlanta. Do you know what I mean? Like, our existence transcends everyone's experience because we're able to express ourselves in such a poetic way. And I think I'm actually seeing happening that I think will help and makes me encouraged is that we're seeing more nuanced expressions of Black women, right? Mm-hmm. I think because of people like, you know, the people we have on our panel today, we are seeing expressions of Black women that don't fit into those molds that they consistently want them to fit into. I'm seeing more and more of that. On Nolly Babes, that's something that we strive to do. There are certain archetypes of a Black woman, and there's so much in between all of it that they don't want people to see. And I think that we're moving towards a society that's showing that more. But I don't know. Actually, I want to know if you guys agree or if you think that, you know, that's something that's happening right now.
Everything you said, I completely agree. It's so exhausting. I feel like Black women, specifically dark-skinned Black women, are the world's punching bags, and yet the world's like blueprint. And it's so exhausting because it's like everybody just wants to just, you know, inhale us, soak us in, use us, you know, whatever, but then still wants to just beat the living shit out of us. And it's so exhausting because we go through so much and yet we're just trying to, like, you know, express ourselves, you know? Yeah.
So I totally agree with my friends, Nolly Babes. What I wanted to add to that was it's actually it's not really art imitating life because it is life, but us looking at the internet and seeing how they consume Black women is exactly what happens in real life, and how they just they're just nitpicking all the good pieces, and then as soon as you show a side that they don't like, it's like, oh, we gotta get this bitch out of here. Like, no ma'am, like, please no. So it's so, but the way I like how it's changing, I do agree with y'all that it's a lot more women that don't fit the mold that's popping out, but the way I like that it's changing too is that it's very broadcasted when we're shaming people for taking. I love that it's broadcasted now because it don't just go away, and it don't, like, it's gonna come up every time. Like, anytime you talk about the Kardashians, it's gonna be a tweet right after that, like, oh, look at this bitch braids. It's like right after that. So I really like that it's
her
like,
Bantu knots. The Bantu.
Exactly. I love that people do not let them forget it. Like, I love it. So I like that it's because back in a long time, people were able to just really just cover up a lot of shit. I like now that people really can't do that anymore. So I think that'll really help with actually putting Black women in the forefront of living as Black women.
Yes. Juana?
I feel like it's two things. I love what she just mentioned, like, you know, the Kardashians. It's funny because you're right. Like, they'll do something and someone bring up the braids, but she's still winning. People still buying Skims, and even some of our buying Skims. So it's like, I think that's the thing that kind of bothers me, because it's like they get penalized. People shout from the roofs and the mountaintops, decades. People been saying they're wrong, but they haven't moved. If anything, they've still remained even higher. They've elevated. So I think that's a privilege they're afforded that we're not afforded. If Black women fuck up, it's over.
Yes, because if I can use, like, I'm sorry to interrupt. But if I can use my outrage like white people could to make money, if I could use Black people outrage like white people could to make money, I would be a fucking millionaire, because that is their feeding ground. And like she said, like, it's like they just pop back up. They're like whack-a-mole. They just pop right back up.
Oh my goodness. I know that we have to open it up to questions in a little bit. I could literally talk to y'all forever. Like,
let's just do a group FaceTime, y'all.
Seriously, because it's just like, it's and especially because we're coming from so many different places, TikTok, you know, like culture writing, like, and yet we all understand and know exactly what we're talking about. This very specific experience that Black women online have. I feel like the internet space can be so violent, you know, in general, but specifically for us. And I guess before we take our Q&A questions, to end on like a hopeful, happy note, what are you envisioning? What are you dreaming? What are you needing from the online space to continue to create the art and tell the stories that you're trying to create?
I would start and say more sisterhood, ensuring that we all eat, like all of us eat, not just one person, not the same people. I think all of us collectively, and also teaching the babies. I have an 8-year-old daughter. She's dark skinned, half Nigerian, she have Trini, and she's already asking me questions like, Mommy, like when I go to school, they're looking at my braids and I'm like, they want your style. Watch when they're in high school, they're gonna have the same type of hairstyle. So don't feel shame. Don't put your head down and bow your head down. You're beautiful, and everything that you are, trust me, they see it and they want it. So I think more sisterhood and making sure we talk to the kids, because I don't want them to come up in have the same struggles on the digital web that we're having right now. We should be past that. Like Bring It On was 20 plus years ago. We relate to the Toro and the Clovers, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I want them to have a better experience, but it only starts for us to talk to them and really build for them too. We can't just think about us in our age. We have to think about the babies, honestly.
Yeah. What comes next?
I think for us, I wish there would be a shift in the culture where what's happening digitally is seen as art and Black women are seen as the innovators in real time. Because this is not the first time that we have ever been the innovators of anything seen as a cultural shift in the art world or in the beauty world, whatever the case may be. I would just like for this era of, whatever the internet, social media is supposed to be, to not look back as Kim Kardashian, as the Marilyn Monroe of the time. I need Black faces to be recognized in real time for their contributions and paid to the art world and what is being seen as this cultural era in terms of aesthetics and existence. Yeah.
Yes, well said.
Well, I would like to see two things. One, I would like to be, if we're saying something, if this is how we feel, I would like to be, I think to make the internet a safer place, I would like for it to be less of a pushback, less of a shut up Black bitch and take it. We always get that vibe when we're saying something or we expressing ourselves. So I would really like it. A lot of people want us to always be grateful, to just always be like, oh, I'm so happy somebody looking at me. Like, of course they're looking at me. Look at me, bitch. So I would really want people to just chill on us and let us express ourselves. That's the first thing. Second, I would like to turn the lens on the corporations, because that would make a huge difference in actually holding them accountable for the things they say they're going to do, and just actually holding them to it and putting their feet to the fire and saying, no, you said XYZ. I would really like to do that. Yes, definitely. Hold these platforms accountable, because they're making so much money. They're making so much money, and the fact that they're making money off of the imagination and the creativity of Black people is like, yeah, accountability needs to happen. So thank you for that. Thank you all for just all of your brilliance and your beauty. What the hell, like this is crazy. But we're gonna move into our Q&A. We have a bunch of questions actually. From people. The first one here is from Brandon, and he's saying, how can Black men support Black women in the right ways? I'm not even gonna be funny. I'm tired. I'm just I'm sorry, Brand. I'm not even trying to be funny, but friend, like we don't. It's just a lot of. I'm gonna let them answer, but I'm not gonna answer because it's just a lot of. We've answered this over and over and over. My mouth dry. Y'all mouth dry. My mouth dry.
You know what it's like.
Over and over again.
When you have that white colleague that comes to you and it's just like, how can I? You need to do the research and figure it out. If you don't know it by now,
I don't know what to tell you.
I'm sorry, there's so many resources out there for you to figure it out. And the first thing you can do is make the effort to figure it out.
Like, do the research.
Is that the wrong? That might be the
All
wrong thing to say.
information is out there.
That might be the wrong thing to say.
I would just say, if you want to support us, stand in it in all shades. In all shades. Not just one, not the lightest, standing all shades. That's my little comment.
Thank you so much for that, because that really, that's a whole other panel.
Yeah.
So next question is from Mallet, who says, Juana, you mentioned how Black people even digest the Kardashians, and it makes me think of the quote, "Not all skin folk are kinfolk." What would you all say to Black folks who let their non-Black friends blackfish, and appropriate Black culture?
I'm gonna let them answer. I've been talking about blackfishing since 2018. You guys can go away.
I think this conversation that we're having right now is a step in the right direction for the entire existence of society, right? Because I think it's normalized. I think we woke in this room, but I think the vast majority of people don't see anything wrong with it. And including a vast majority of Black people don't see. I don't think every Black person is like, hey, don't send me that. I don't think that's happening. I think it's a very small group of people that are already seeing how problematic this is. So we just hope that that grows and that begins to encompass not just Black people, but a lot of white people too. But I don't think many people see anything wrong with it right now. So yeah.
Yeah, to other Black people who let their non-Black friends do stuff, I treat them like they non-Black friends. Obviously that's what you want. So I just ice them out. And this might not be the best solution, but I be tired, y'all. I'm telling y'all, I just don't have time. I just ice them out. Like there's really nothing you can do, because I feel like we're running out of time, and we've been talking about the same stuff for like years, and I don't know. I just feel like something is running out of time. Okay, now it's time to do something different. We've been talking about the same stuff. Let them be with their non-Black friends. That's what I do.
There's an urgency. It's like, okay, if that's what you're on, like, yeah, completely. Tiff here says, does anyone here have an example of a corporation actually being intentional about ensuring that Black creators are rightfully credited and compensated, or preventing digital blackface use?
No, because this question, you have to be really cognizant how you answer it, because you're basically saying this corporation has the best interest of Black people, Black women, and I can't really name one right now, I'm being honest with you, so I'm gonna stay quiet.
And I feel like once we do that, it be, how Future said, in Free Code, he said, you tell your friends I fuck you, I love a free code, or I love a free promo. I would never give no corporation who be shitting on us, but that one time that they try to make up for, I never give them host free promo, ever. No.
Someone here just said, some questions, Ellie said, some questions are meant to be answered by the offenders. And I think that that's what this is giving. Okay, we'll take a few more questions. This one is from Jordan, who says, in what ways do you envision Black creators maintaining control over their content?
You see, I would say it's always an easy thing to say, I wish there was more Black executives, more Black people in the room. That's bullshit. One person at the seat of the table don't mean we're all gonna eat. And I've seen it firsthand. So I think collectively we need the right people at the table. We can't just have any regular Black face sitting there saying, I'm gonna advocate for all of us, because it doesn't happen that way. So I think we need people with the same vision, the same alignment, and have the same type of innovation and urgency, we keep saying urgency, to make these things happen. Because one person, just because you're Black doesn't mean you're gonna have the whole, community protected, or, making sure we all advance. So I think it's the right mindset, the right people at the table.
I think, all these conversations centering around these corporations, at the end of the day, they don't do things because it's the right thing to do. It has to be affecting their bottom line.
Yep.
Until these behaviors that they are exhibiting are seen by society as things that are wrong, to the point where it affects their bottom dollar, that's when they're going to care. And that's how much they're going to be willing to move the line of doing the right thing. Doing the right thing is not a business model. Nothing, if you ever see a corporation doing something that seems like the right thing, it's because at the end of the day, it's still going to help their bottom line. So I think the only way we can get to the point where corporations are actually at least on the appearance level, having our interests in mind, is when it gets to the point where what they're doing that's incorrect is so bad that society is then no longer participating and working with that company, and they begin seeing the financial repercussions. I don't think, there's any executive that can get to the top and be like, I want to do the right thing for Black people, and then all of a sudden that's the company mantra. It doesn't happen that way.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with all y'all, because I think a lot of people are missing integrity and character. That's really, really important to me. And I feel like if people's integrity was stronger, they would realize and they would be able to stand steady and like, no, I'm not fucking with them no matter how much money they're giving me. So then it'll affect their money, like she said. But I feel like that integrity, like, we always missed out on that once we see them dollar signs.
I have a question, if I may, Zeba. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
I saw a quote earlier today that was about how we equate Black excellence to Black wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if we are consistently, because don't get me wrong, in this society that we live in right now, being financially compensated in a way that is respectful is the goal. But if we're constantly playing this game of we need to be able to make money, and that is our primary focus as creators, are we then playing into the white man's game all the time?
Yep. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Juana said it. Yep. The answer is yep.
Listen, it's a whole conversation, but this Black girls in luxury, that's a whole
I hate
conversation
it.
to have.
I hate it.
Another conversation to have, not right now. But I think you're right. It's playing into the hand, and it's also like creating more division.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the goal of Black excellence, why can't someone be Black mediocre? Why can't we just be Black average? They're white average.
Yes.
So I think we need to start to accept all types of, like, whether it's excellence or whether it's whatever, just any scale of Blackness, I'm cool with, because they're over there being mediocre, taking and stealing, looting, do all this stuff, and they're just thriving. So everyone could get a chance if we just like ourselves. To be honest, Blackness is non-monolith. I'm sorry.
But like you said before, that it's a small amount of us. Like, it's the people I surround me with. So I think it's everybody that think this. But like she said before, it's a small amount of us that think this is wrong. So they do think excellence is being closer to white people. Mm-hmm. So it's really nothing. It's like talking to a brick wall with a Chanel bag. It's really nothing you can say to them, because it's like then it becomes a downward spiral. Well, I can't have this because I'm Black. And y'all only say this to Black. Like, no, brickhead. It's not that deep. Just, it is that deep, but just listen. It's little stuff. It's so nuanced, and they don't want to listen because they are so filled with all the material stuff. They are so happy. They're so happy. So it's like, how you gonna talk to a happy dummy? You can't.
I'm an ex-happy dummy for a while, but I got out of there. I quit my job, so I understand. That money would do things.
It sure will. There's one more question. Let me know, GIPHY Blacktag people, how much time we have left. But this question is really interesting, from David, who's saying, would love to hear your perspectives on the appropriation of Black culture, especially culture created by Black women, by the gay community. I'm a gay man myself, and unfortunately see this appropriation so often normalized. What are your thoughts?
It depends on if you are a Black gay man. Because if you're a white gay man, I don't know what y'all culture is. I'm not gonna try to pretend I do. But if you're a Black gay man, it's so intertwined. And then it's a soft spot for me. I got my hair done by a man until I was probably like 16, 15, and he was, a gay man. So it's like, it's so intertwined. And of course we feed off each other. There's some stuff that they have, and some stuff that we have, but we feed off each other. But for surely Hispanic and white gays, they take what they want and then run with it. That's it. They take what they want and they run with it. And I think that's a whole nother, like y'all keep saying, that's a whole nother panel. That's something they would have to speak on in that community, because it's a lot of give and take, and it's a lot of stealing over there. Like, y'all want to say that we're definitely memes, but they are memes to the max also. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of stealing over there. And I think that y'all don't want to talk about it because they don't even want to acknowledge them as people sometimes.
Completely. Yeah. I think there's there's a complexity there. And as you're saying, there's this give and take, and there's this conversation happening. But it becomes complicated. That's the thing. It's like, God, this world we live in, like race complicates everything in these really difficult but fascinating ways. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. That's a whole other panel. I could go off, but let me read another question. Okay, this is our last question from Debbie, who says, how do you feel about the idea of gatekeeping? So you think that is too extreme of a solution? Do you think it's too extreme of a solution? Do you think it's plausible? Gatekeeping Black stories, Black content, Black art.
We should have been gatekeeped. We should have been, hip hop should have been the first example of what should have been. So I mean, I'm pro gatekeeping everything, but unfortunately, it won't happen. Like I keep saying, people think that they have one Black person in the room and said, okay, cool, like safeguard this for us, protect it like it's your baby, but they may not have the interest for all of us. So, I mean, we're past that stage now. On the internet, everyone feels like something belongs to them. They can participate, they can take it, they can access it. So I'm pro gatekeeping, but do I think it's plausible in this day and age, especially with the rise of the metaverse and NFTs and all this stuff? It's not, no.
Yeah, Nolly Babes, what do you think?
Completely agree. I mean, with everything she said, it's not feasible. The floodgates are open. The Pandora's box is open. They have been a buffet. They're gorging on the
internet. There's no gatekeeping on the internet. You just can't do it. You know, too many eyes, too many people want to participate.
Too much money to be made. Like you can't close it back once it's
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm for sure keep them hoes out. I for sure am a pro gatekeeper. And then the crazy part about it is I have to sit there and think like, it's so much stuff. It's so many cultures we don't know about. It's so many memes I wouldn't get from the Hispanic community. It's so many memes I wouldn't get from the Asian community. It's so many stuff that they do that I would never know, but I would never be like, let me find out about this. Like I'm okay with knowing, and that's okay, full stop. So it's like I don't think it's plausible to close it because they're not okay with not knowing what the fuck we doing because we're just that interesting. So many of them are not okay with it.
Yeah. Wow. I want to keep talking, but I think we unfortunately have to wrap up. Thank you all just for your minds and for your openness and like for this discussion. I think it's one that, to everyone's point, should be ongoing. It shouldn't just be for the month of February. We should be consistently and constantly thinking about how we engage with Black content and Black creators online. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone who watched this conversation and contributed your questions. And yeah, have a lovely rest of your night.
Thank y'all. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. This is one of the best events I feel like GIPHY's ever done, so really appreciate it.
I love it. Can I say something before we leave? I see everyone on this panel. You're doing amazing stuff. From like, honestly, Kay, I hear about you all the time. I see her stuff everywhere. Like it's crazy to be talking to you guys. I'm so blessed. I'm honored. It's everything to me, especially since I have a little Black girl. Like I really think that there's different types of Blackness and different types of Black women that we should be uplifting and supporting. And I feel like I'm just so blessed to be here. So thank you to GIPHY and Blacktag and everyone here. I wish you success, more money, more bags, everything.
Thank you.
In the future. All that.
No, I literally, okay, y'all, and me too. I literally was just, I'm gonna go follow you because you was my friend, but I was just telling Nolly Babes, I was just in a DM like, oh my God, I was trying to be professional, but I love y'all. So
no, we were like, oh my God, we were fanning out over here. We were fanning out, literally. Everything, literally the example of so much we've been talking about today, the source.
Yes. The source, yes. Beauty. Thank you.
Okay, y'all, let's get off these people dying. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.